Hey friends, what's up? How's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. It's time for another first impression of a new release. This one from the house of Bvlgari, the new Man in Black Parfum. Now this one has been rumored for a minute, actually for many months now, because at first there was just the rumblings of it coming out and then a picture of it popped out, and then it actually went silent for a while, and then after a few months they officially announced it, and then it went silent again, and then finally started to pop up places. I bought mine off of eBay. Once again, paid a little too much, but that's okay. And this is of course the newest flanker in the Man in Black line, which has not seen a flanker for quite a while. If memory serves me correctly, the most recent one was 2017 as far as the Man in Black line. Now of course there's the Bvlgari Man line, and that's had a flanker basically every year, but this one has been, I guess, forgotten about for a little while, until now.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
So in today's video, like usual, we'll go ahead and take a look at this presentation, which as you can see here, quite similar to the previous one. And I'll let you know how this one smells and the differences between this and this. And I will also try to have that one linked in the description below, along with the original Man in Black. Now before we start taking a look at the fragrance itself, here are some codes you can use to save money across a bunch of different websites. Gents is the code for the perfumebox.com. That'll get you 10% off the entire website. GS11, 11% off at fragflex.com. And then of course there's Max Aroma, Gents 10, and Gents 20 for 10 or 20% off. It depends on the fragrance, so try Gents 20 first. The Gents 20 code stopped working for a little bit in February, but it's good to go now. All right, let's take a look at the presentation here. So here we have the front of the box. You have the name of the house, name of the fragrance, size, and concentration. Mine is a 60 ml, 2-ounce bottle. Nothing up top or on the sides. Little info on the back. Then on the bottom, your badge code and barcode. Looks like the badge code is 01003DA2. Although I guess it could be 01003DA2, but I think that's a no. And here we have the bottle. So this one, again, looks very similar to the original Man in Black, only this one is essentially blacked out. The rose gold portion on top of the atomizer and across the front of the bottle have been changed to black, and on the front it says Parfum. Everything else is pretty much the same. On the bottom you have a sticker with your badge code, and with the atomizer here you can turn the atomizer to the side. You want to make it where it won't spray on accident, I guess, in case you throw it into a bag or something like that. All right, let's go ahead and share a couple sprays here. Check out the atomizer in action. Not too shabby, and we'll go ahead and spray this one as well. There we go. Okay, where to get started with this one? So the original Man in Black, that's probably most well known for being kind of similar in ways to Viktor & Rolf's Spice Bomb. It has a good amount of spices off the top, just like you're gonna find in Spice Bomb, used in a similar fashion. It also has boozy notes in there. It's got tobacco, it has leather, and you have some tonka and woods as the fragrance dries down as well. Got a nice sweetness melding with that spiciness. Really good for fall and winter time. Nice performance, good projection, great longevity. Big compliment puller as well. Just overall a really solid scent. And it used to be, from discounters, really affordable. Nowadays, not as much.
I'm on a budget, Sandy.
What?
I can't afford you.
I mean, you can still find it easily, and you can find it for a discount from discounters, just not discounted as heavily. And that brings us to this one, Man in Black Parfum. Now, it looks like this is kind of disappointing some people. I just got it in yesterday, so I've only been able to wear it a couple of times. But it looks like there's a little bit of a negative trend against this one right now, and the biggest reason looks to be the performance. So just throwing that out there right here off the top before we even start talking about how this one smells, that if you're looking for Man in Black but ramped up even further, like Man in Black dialed up to 11, that's not what this is.
I mean, what were you expecting?
Now that being said, Parfum flankers are not always that. So I know that there's some people that are disappointed, that are upset, who are like, oh, this is a Parfum, therefore it should be way stronger than this one. It should project heavier. It should last longer. Because this is just an eau de parfum. That's a parfum, man. That means more, bigger, better, stronger, faster, all that stuff. But what I would say to this, and I guess we can dive into this a little bit more later on in the video, is that very often Parfum flankers are not actually made to be like the most beast mode of the entire line. A lot of the time, Parfum flankers are actually made to be a little more subtle believe it or not. And you can see that across a bunch of different fragrance lines. But Parfum flankers a lot of times are made to be a little more elegant, a little more rich, more sophisticated, smoother, deeper, but oftentimes they sit a little more subtly on your skin because they're the type of fragrance that, like, just as an example, if you really enjoy this DNA, the Parfum version is what you would wear to like a formal event where you don't necessarily want a fragrance that's gonna bash people over the head. You want it to be a little more dressed up, a little more dialed in, a little more sophisticated. Whereas with the other flankers, maybe you have ones that are a little more in your face.
Yeah! In your face!
So just throwing that out there. Let's finally talk about how this smells. It definitely opens noticeably softer than the original for me. So when you first spray this guy on your skin, you'll go in for a whiff and be like, yeah, that doesn't really hit quite the same way. Because with this one, the original Man in Black, when you spray that on, you smell that, it's sweet, it's spicy, it's bold, it's in your face, right? This one, the Parfum, it still has spice to it. The sweetness is dialed back in a way because the sweetness in this one is more zingy. You know, it just kind of jumps off your skin. Whereas this one is mellow. It is a touch creamy. The iris comes out a little bit more in the Parfum than it does in the original, because in the original, you don't really get too much of that, but in the Parfum, you can pick it up a little easier. So those creamy floral aspects, they pop out more in Man in Black Parfum. And again, while that spice is there and it has a nice warmth to it and it has a little sweetness as well, it is not as lively, zingy, brash, and doesn't project like the original. It has an ambery woodiness to it as it dries down. It maintains warmth throughout the entirety of the fragrance from the opening to the dry down. It still has some sweetness into the dry down as well, but again, not as much as in the original for me. It has a touch of like a leathery aspect to it as well. I don't think that leather is an official note in the Parfum edition. It was, of course, in the original. You still get a little bit of that in this one also. And definitely the Parfum is, as I kind of alluded to before, going to be a smoother, more refined fragrance overall. Not quite as brash, not quite as in your face. A little bit simpler also with the Parfum, just the way that it comes across. There are subtle changes from the opening into the mid into the dry down, but it just kind of smoothly goes along. And for me, this is almost exactly what I would think of from a Parfum flanker, the way that it's been done in the past. It smells pretty similar to the original, just with things rebalanced, recalibrated, and I feel like if you enjoy the way this smells, you'll very likely enjoy the way this smells. If I were going to a black tie event, you know, a wedding or something like that, this is a much, much, much better fit than this. But if you're wanting to really get noticed and have something that's gonna push more, this is probably gonna work out better for you than this. So all of this that we talked about is fine and dandy, but what about performance? Yeah, that's the big elephant in the room, right? That's the thing that people are upset about. They're like, this Bvlgari Parfum is garbage. It doesn't last at all. No projection, turbo skin scent, absolute nothingness. That was the wrong thing to do. Nothing.
I don't think that's fair. I tried the best I can.
Is the performance that bad? Is it truly that garbaggio with Man in Black Parfum? Well, is it weaker than the original Off My Skin? Yes. This does not project as well as the original Man in Black. It just doesn't. And you can tell immediately. As soon as you spray it on, you smell this and you go, that does not have a whole heck of a lot of push, and it's in the opening. Like as soon as you spray it on when it should be projecting the most, and you're like, ooh, that's not strong.
Nothing! You've got nothing! Nothing!
That is true. 100% true. But does it have good longevity? Yeah, actually the longevity is not too bad. It sticks around. It sticks around. It's just, it's not projecting that much while it's sticking around. So this is one of those fragrances that's like, oh, you know? I think it actually smells nice. A more refined, more elegant Man in Black. I enjoy the little extra dollop of iris that's in there. I think that for some people, actually, that this one would work much better than this one, because if, you know, the opening of the original Man in Black is just too much, like you smell it and you go, oh man, just like, you know, wallops me in the face. I'm not a fan of that. Or, you know, as it dries down, there's a lot of different things kind of going on with this one. And if you're not a fan of that, then the more focused, smoother, more elegant take on that DNA with this one could work much better for you. So for sure, I think there's gonna be an audience for this one. But yeah, I'm not a person who feels like everything has to be beast mode. I think that there should be some fragrances that are more subtle, fragrances that are average, you know, a little bit below, a little bit above, that have awesome versatility, if that makes sense. And also beast mode scents as well, for when you really want something that's gonna cut through the cold, get you noticed, last forever. I think all of these things should exist because there are so many different scenarios, situations, places that you're gonna go, things you're gonna do, that sometimes you want something down here, something up here sometimes, and a lot of the time just somewhere in between. Whether that's like a strong fragrance that's not ungodly strong, or a more subtle fragrance that's not water. But this is a little pricey, and I do wish it had a little more push to it. I'm not gonna write it off and say, you know, it's absolute crap, because it smells pretty good. And the quality overall smells a little higher here than it does here, which I guess you would expect. Higher price point, higher concentration, all that stuff. But yeah, it could use a little more push. Now, if you're looking for something that is on the more subtle side, you're in luck. But if you're wanting it to perform up to expectations for the current price point, yeah, you might be disappointed.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
So for me, it's kind of you know, it's a half and half. There are positives here, there are negatives here. If you were, for example, wanting a Parfum edition that really changed things up, you may be disappointed, because while it does change things up a bit, you know, a rebalancing, some tweaks, this is not massively changed from this, other than just what I've said like 3 or 4 times. Smoother, more elegant, deeper, more gentlemanly. All those things, yes, but a drastic departure, not drastic. So that could be considered a con depending on your viewpoint, and then also the performance. Most people are probably gonna be a little let down. So yeah, positives and negatives. In terms of seasonality, fall and winter time, more of an evening fragrance for sure. Although, as I repeat ad nauseum every single time, just to make sure I drive the point home, wear it whenever you like, just as long as you know the fragrance, how it works off your body, where you're going, what you're gonna be doing, all that stuff. But if you're gonna pigeonhole it, fall, winter, evening. So there we go, Man in Black Parfum. Some good, some not so good. Some people are gonna say this is a very nice, elegant take on Man in Black, and other people are gonna say this is so pathetically weak compared to the cost and the fragrance that it's coming after. And both of those are kind of true. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.